It's good to see you guys. Welcome in. It's 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Almost put me on a different coast there for a second. Central Standard Time. I really do know where I live. I'm in Minnesota. Not that much snow this year, but that's okay with me. Welcome in, you guys. So it is Tuesday, and I just wanted to pop in today. And we are actually going to talk about the weight loss noise that is out there. And here's what's actually working. And the reason why is because we view everything on this show through the lens of insulin resistance. And if you've never done that before, stick with me today to see if this is possibly a route that you want to take. If you have literally never thought, I'm going to lose weight through the lens of insulin resistance, hang tight, okay? Because that's what we're going to do today. Everything that I talk about has to do with insulin resistance and turning it back. I turned mine back starting in my upper 40s. I waited for freaking ever. I was 22 when I was gestational diabetic, and then 25 or 6 when I was hypoglycemic with those pregnancies. I was 50 when I had frozen shoulder. That's another sign. My dad died when I was 30 of type 2 diabetes. He was only 63. I'm Italian and I have obesity and type 2 all over my Italian family. So this has been a long journey for me. I just turned 60. So hello, welcome to Like It Taking Forever for somebody to figure things out. That's me. Nice to meet you. My name is Kirsten Liebelt. And so we talk about this all the time. Let's see, points of housekeeping today in the group. Ditch insulin resistance for women, which is, I put it up there for TikTok. Ditch insulin resistance for women. Every month we do a 5-day challenge, Monday through Friday. I go live at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Today is day number 2 of our 22nd 5-day insulin resistant reset challenge. Because you literally can, I'm just telling you, you can reset yourself. You can reset your body metabolically, etc. And I will teach you how to do that with targeted supplementation and ingredient trade-outs. This is what we do, people. So I feel like most of my content comes from conversations that I'm having with you guys in the background. And I've been talking to people recently about just that, I just don't even know what to believe anymore. I just don't, I'm sorry, probably messing up my audio. I don't know what to think anymore. I just don't, I'm hearing so much information. Like, should I do this system? Should I do this system? Should I, like, who do I listen to? And I'm supposed to eat this, but I'm not supposed to eat that, but I'm supposed to add fiber if I eat this and blah, 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 blah. So what I wanted to do was really kind of clear the path just a tiny bit. Yesterday in the group, I had talked about, I will come without any hacks. I'm not looking to teach you hacks for you. And what I mean by that, I shouldn't say that really completely. I'm not going to teach you how to cut corners. I'm going to teach you actually how to love your new lifestyle. I'm really serious. Being Italian, I thought that I was going to have to give up being a foodie. I thought that I was going to have to hate everything that I ate. I've talked about this before, but it really is the truth. They tried to tell us back in the 90s that we needed to suffer by eating rice cakes. I mean, which was the stupidest advice ever on the face of the planet. But now I understand everything is marketing. So it's like, okay, blah, blah, blah. You marketed the food pyramid to us too, and now we're fatter than we've ever been. Okay, yay, we're doing well. Any hoodle. So my whole thought process is, what if you actually trashed the idea that this is going to be the hardest thing that you ever did? What if you actually never allowed that thought to land in your spirit, in your mind, and you decided, actually, if I just go back to some basics, this doesn't have to be the hardest thing that I ever did. And I just have to learn a few things. I don't have to learn 50 things. Like in the challenge, every day, it's for 5 days. I'll give you 5 pieces to your puzzle, and you will now have the top of your puzzle box. What if you learned 5 things? And actually, it kind of boils down to only 2 things. Okay? But we'll get there. Balloons on Instagram. So good to see you guys. Let me know if you're on the replay. I'd love to know where you're coming in from. And if you have any questions during this time that I'm sharing information, feel free to like pop them in the chat, because that's how I can either come back. It'll stay on Facebook. I'm sorry, Instagram and TikTok, it doesn't stay with you guys because it disappears after the live is done. So if you need anything during the time that I'm chatting, go ahead and pop it in the chat. I'll try to remember to look at everybody's comments, or go back on Facebook or YouTube. And then if you ever need anything when I'm talking about any kind of supplementation, you can either put it in the chat on Facebook, or you can always find any of my messaging opportunities. Get into my messages, get into my DMs, tell me that you're looking for something, and I'd be more than happy to help you navigate. So it's very important to me, actually. I really do feel like if I can impact anybody to become their own advocate, like you guys, it's my happy place. It is my happy place. When I have somebody say to me, over the last year, I got off of 10 medications. 10. That's a pretty happy place for me to be, because I'm telling you what, you can live a completely different life than the one you're living right now. And I don't know what it is for you that motivates you when you get up in the morning to make a better decision. It took me until my 50s to really start to pay attention and to think, I'm going to have grandbabies one day. I don't want to be a grandma that can't get down on the floor. I don't want to be a grandma that doesn't have any energy. I don't want to be a grandma that can't actually stand in the kitchen and teach them how to cook, which is what I love to do. And I started to actually think about those things that I wanted most. And I wanted, for me, and it's going to be different for you, but for me, I was starting to really travel a lot for business, travel a lot with our business team, travel a lot in general. And I thought, it really sucks when I get to my destination and my ankles are so swollen that the first thing that I do is get into the hotel, lay down on my back on the bed, and put my feet straight up in the air on the wall to try to alleviate any swelling, just a little bit, just take the edge off of the swelling of my ankles. That's where I was when I started to really pay attention and deal with my own sugars and my own high insulin, knowing that I was headed like a freight train towards type 2. There is no reason why I should be the only one in my immediate Italian family to not be type 2. No reason. And yet I did. And so I teach the exact same two things that I did. I targeted my supplementation so that it made sense to make my body function, and it traded out my food ingredients, and I don't have a swollen ankle in sight. Thank God. Thank God. I'm telling you what, that's a lot. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to just talk about why weight loss feels impossible when your body is out of balance, and how you can actually change this. I am so convinced, you guys, I am so convinced that if you will view everything through the lens of insulin resistance, you're going to get everything you're looking for. I'm so convinced of it. It happened to me, and then now I've taught so many women to do the exact same thing, and it is phenomenal. I started doing exactly what I teach a little over 10 years ago. So this isn't something I picked up last week, and now I'm trying to teach it to you. Literally, this has been my entire journey, and I know exactly why things work, and I know exactly how things work, and I know the results that I can see coming from you guys over and over and over again. Stubborn weight loss and inability to bring sugars down and all of these things. And it's like, I'm telling you like your best friend, like pull up, sit down, grab a cup of coffee, let's chat. You're not being told by your provider that if your insulin is high, you cannot burn fat. You're not in fat burning mode if you have high insulin, but they're not giving you the test to tell you that your insulin is high. So this is an issue. And this is a major issue. All right, I want to make sure I'm not missing anything here. Okay, perfect. We're good. We're golden. So maybe you feel like you're doing everything right. Maybe you've been cutting out calories, you've been working out, you've been doing all of the things, but the scale is not budging. And here's why. If your body is insulin resistant, it's like a locked door. It is no matter what you do, your body won't release fat for energy because insulin is telling it to store it instead. So you have to understand what's happening. There's an actual process of your body telling it to store fat. The key isn't more dieting, it's fixing the insulin problem first. Oh, I want everybody to hear that. This is an insulin problem. Insulin resistance makes fat nearly impossible because your cells are resistant to insulin, leading to high blood sugar and constant fat storage. Like, I'm sorry, put it in the comments if you want constant fat storage. Is that like appealing to you? Because I know that when I started my 50s, you guys, I was a 2X. I was a 2X. Do you understand? I've lost 3 sizes because of exactly what I teach in my 50s after my cycle stopped. Because if you understand the science of it, of what your body is doing, you'll go, oh, I should probably stop shaming myself. Like, what's that all about? And I should probably just start paying attention to like the science of what my body's actually doing. Boom, V8 moment, right? Okay. Your cells become resistant to insulin, leading to high blood sugar and constant fat storage. Signs that this could be you: stubborn belly fat. We talk about that all the time. It's the belly fat because insulin loves to store it in your belly first. It's like one of the first signs of insulin resistance. You might have intense sugar cravings. I remember. Energy crashes and feeling like you gain weight just by looking at food. That was me, big time. Instead of another diet, focus on balancing your blood sugar with the right nutrients and supporting your metabolism so that your body can actually burn fat again. Okay. So how blood sugar, liver health, and metabolism work together. So, this is so important. Again, it's a scientific conversation. This should make you feel so good. This should make you feel like, oh, there are actually answers instead of gimmicks. Oh, there is actually a plan instead of just like an expensive system. Oh, I actually do have control over this, and I don't have to be like so controlled by food anymore if I can get a few things in place. What would that feel like? Recently, I talked about how we went to Florida, my husband and I, just for a few days. And even though I took a couple bites of his cheesecake or whatever, it did not throw me off. But it's because my body now, I supplement targetedly so that my body doesn't, I don't have those intense sugar cravings anymore. I'm not saying I don't emotionally want ice cream or that I don't socially want, that's the only reason why I took bites of his cheesecake was because we were having a sweet time. We were holding hands. We were walking on the beach. We've been married 37 years. I love him, and so it was just like, I was just having my own moments and it didn't matter to me because I know that my body, I've worked really hard to become insulin sensitive. I've worked really hard to have metabolic stability, and so it didn't, but I didn't eat it. And then it went and it didn't trigger my body. Crave. It didn't do that because I'm in a different space, but I can teach exactly how that happens because you can imagine how it feels inside to not have your body feel like it's being controlled by food. And you can just enjoy the moment. I'm just telling you. And I will say that I actually don't do that very often because I don't want you to think that that's wisdom. Only because it took me a really long time to stop rewarding myself with sweet potato fries. But weight loss isn't just about eating less. It's about your body processes what you eat. It's how it processes. And your liver is playing a very huge role. So your liver is your fat burning organ. So if you are not treating your liver nicely, then don't expect it to do anything for you that you want it to do. And if it's a fat burning organ, just forget about it. It's going to be really frustrating for you. So that's why this is a piece of the puzzle. So when it's sluggish from years of processed foods and sugars and toxins, it will not efficiently burn fat. It will not. And this is like, why isn't anybody telling us this? And it will not regulate your blood sugar. It will not, because that's what your liver does. I don't know if you knew that or not, but having blood sugar swings equals fat storage mode. If you have blood sugar swings and you're doing this, spike and crash and spike and crash, you might as well be saying, like, storing my fat, storing my fat, storing my fat, storing my fat. That's the equalization of what that is. Okay. So when your blood sugar spikes, insulin floods your system and fat burning gets shut off. That is super frustrating. When blood sugar crashes, you feel exhausted. You crave your carbs, creating a cycle that keeps you stuck. Very frustrating. Your metabolism is not broken. It is not broken. It is overwhelmed. Okay? It's overwhelmed. You are not broken. Supporting the liver and balancing blood sugar naturally reboots your metabolism. So fat burning becomes effortless instead of a fight. I'm going to just read that again, because I'm telling you, if you can understand these pieces, this makes life 5 million times easier, not 10x, 5 million times easier to make the decisions that you're going to make, to shift the things that you're going to shift. Supporting the liver and balancing your blood sugar naturally reboots your metabolism. So fat burning becomes effortless instead of a fight. So the biggest mistakes that people are making when they're trying to lose weight, the number one mistake that I can see actually is trying to out-exercise or out-diet insulin resistance. You cannot willpower your way. You cannot willpower your way through a metabolic problem. Insulin resistance is a metabolic problem. Hello. Good to see you. Good to see you. You just can't. And the sooner that you get this, like for yourself, the happier you will be, because you'll feel like you actually are viewing things through a lens of some scientific pieces. I wish I had another word for scientific. Some mechanical pieces in your body. Again, yesterday I talked about like your car. If your engine was failing, you would not tell the mechanic to paint your car blue, thinking that that's what was going to fix it. You would never do that. That would never make sense. So you need something that makes sense. Aren't you exhausted by things that don't make sense, or by things that you don't understand? So therefore you don't understand it. And when you don't get the results that you want fast enough, because that happens. Who loses weight as fast as they want to lose weight? Raise your hand. If you're just like, OMG, I'm like Speedy Gonzalez. I just drop weight like no problem. Well, then you're probably not on my content, right? So when you don't understand why it's working for you the way it's supposed to work for you, you're probably going to quit. You're probably going to go, well, that didn't work for me, because it's like that picture. You've ever seen that picture of the guy with the ice pick? And he's going for the gold and he's going through rock. So, okay, it's a rock pick. It's like a big hole pick. And he's like chunking his way through the tunnel and chunking his way through the tunnel. And he gives up and turns back. And he was like this close to the gold. He was this close. And what if at any given moment you are this close to your metabolic reset and you turn back? How frustrating is that? And how many times in your life have you probably done it? Right? I probably did it a good 20 times between the age of 20 and 50. I would assume that's probably true. Like, we get close and we give up because we don't actually understand what's happening in our body. So extreme dieting slows your metabolism down. Stop it. Stop extreme dieting. Your body perceives starvation and it holds on to fat even tighter. Over-exercising increases stress hormones like cortisol, which actually makes insulin resistance worse. Stop it. Stop ellipticaling your way. And, or especially if you're over 50. So if you're in your 40s right now, and you're hitting perimenopause, this is literally gold for you because I'm 60. So this all started in my 40s. So if you're perimenopausal, or like I said yesterday, if you have a daughter or a daughter-in-law that is heading into perimenopause, share the content. Give them the gift that they need. I'm so grateful that my daughter has my information. She's 33. I am so incredibly grateful. Share this with somebody that you know that is in their 30s or they're just turning 40. This is golden information for them to understand the way their body works, and they can stop shaming themselves or thinking that because they were a track runner in their 20s and that's what kept them thin, that they have to take back up running again in their 40s. And then, nobody told them that that might raise cortisol, and that goes against them when they're insulin resistant. Shoot. Because now we go back to what I'm just going to go back to what worked before. I counted points for 20 years and that should work for me. And I used to run track and I ran my little tuchus off and that's what worked for me. We go back, but we're not taking into account our new season of hormone imbalance. And we have to. And insulin is the first and the primary hormone that goes upside down. It's the first one. But cortisol is a hormone. GLP-1 is a hormone made in your gut. It's not just a shot. It's a hormone. So this is a hormonal conversation, right? So over-exercising increases stress hormones like cortisol, ignoring your gut health and your liver function. You guys, when I talk about like the full system that I talk about, they are pieces that I cherry-picked. So this is not a marketing system. These are cherry-picked pieces to help with the different levels of what you need help with. So when you deal with your gut, when you deal with your liver, when you deal with your sugars and your insulin and your metabolism, and you do it all at once, very condensed and targeted, well, that's how I have a 75-year-old woman that lost 45 pounds since August 28th. 75. Did you think that you could get too old and never lose weight? Change your lens. Insulin resistance, okay? So ignoring your gut and liver function, your digestion is off and your liver is sluggish. No amount of calorie cutting will fix those problems. Can't do it. You can't. You can't exercise enough to get your liver to function properly. You can't cut enough calories to out-function a sluggish liver. Doesn't work. But yet, if your liver is sluggish, you can't burn fat. So which do you want? You're going to have to actually get the antifreeze if you live in a cold state like me. You're going to actually have to get the power steering fluid for your car. You're actually going to have to get the things that you need inside of your engine. You're going to have to get the oil. You're going to have to make sure it's the right oil, whether it's, and I know nothing about cars, whether it's the synthetic or the this or the that or the whatever do you need for the season. Like in Minnesota, we pay attention, right? We're going into winter. We have to change out our oil and it has to be a certain kind of oil. If you're from the South, you have no idea that we do this, right? If we're coming into spring, we just use a different oil because it needs to perform differently. So you have to do the exact same thing, get your engine back up and running. But what actually works is giving your body the tools to work properly again through targeted nutrients and blood sugar balance and liver support. So these are the types of things. So the simple things that you can do to actually move the needle for yourself, support your blood sugar daily with key nutrients. So I talk to people a lot about the food ingredient trade-outs. In fact, in the group today, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, in the group today, we are going to, good morning, Magda, good to see you. We're going to be talking about ingredient trade-outs. And why is this such a big deal? Why do I do this every single month for you guys? Why do I do it? Because I was so convinced that there was no way I was going to be able to swim upstream of the cultural food pushers and the emotional triggers and connections to food that were just taught to me as a little girl. This goes way back, way back. And so if I can do it, hands down, you can do it. I promise. You just have to learn how to trade out your ingredients. And so let's do that. Let's make sure we have that opportunity, okay? So Supporting your blood sugar daily. And okay, so you can do it with ingredient trade outs by not eating foods that spike your sugar. I do teach grain, sugar, and legume free. And I'm still a total foodie and I love the food that I eat. I'm just telling you, never thought that was possible. And you can balance your blood sugar. And then I also teach supplementation. So I'm actually right now, I have a little video that I'm putting together. I'm actually just finishing up editing. I put together this little video that can explain why when you give your body the raw materials that it needs to function, you actually get results. So a lot of the testimonies that I talk about on here come from people who are using the trio. Those are the 3 supplements. So if you would watch a video that is, when I'm done editing it, I'm assuming it's going to be about maybe 3 minutes, just sharing why using targeted supplementation. Again, like I said, this is not a system that is a prepackaged system that somebody's marketing. I cherry-picked supplementation that will actually work inside of your body to make it function. It's a completely different thought process, and it's from a cellular conversation and not from a let's try to cut a corner conversation. I am not going to tell you, oh, honey, you can just eat whatever you want. Just add more fiber to your world. No, because that will not serve you forever. It just won't. You have to learn how to fish. But then the result is that you get to feel amazing. I wake up and I don't ache. I wake up and I feel energy. I'm not crashing in the middle of the day. I can keep up with my grandbabies. I can travel and have a life with my husband. Every day in Florida, we just walked for miles. We just enjoyed our time. We got to live in the moment and make memories and take pictures and like soak in the sunshine and because I felt good. And I wasn't worried about my digestive system being off because I had a solution with me. I had pieces to my puzzle. So my point in saying that is that, if I shared with you a video where I'm just explaining the trio, these 3 supplements, would you watch it? If it's a short video, would you watch it? Would you actually take the time to understand, oh, that's why that's working like that? Okay, because it's going to help you to stay on course longer. And if you are, then you can put like trio in the comments on Facebook or YouTube, or you guys can get into my message box on Instagram or TikTok and just put trio or trio video, whatever, and I'll share it with you. That way you can understand for yourself. But help your liver do its job. That's a part of the trio too. A well-functioning liver means better digestion, balanced hormones, easier time burning fat, give your metabolism the push that it needs. This is all the same. It's all a part of this. And you can ditch the idea of quick fixes, but that doesn't mean you don't get really nice, sustainable results. Okay. Just want you to know that. So if you're frustrated, listen, I was too. I was so frustrated. Like I said, I entered my 50s as a hot mess express and a 2X in size. And I thought, and you guys, I put before and afters up there on TikTok because I honestly thought that I was just going to have to resign myself to being obese like everybody else in my Italian family. Like obesity was just normal. And type 2 was just genetic. And it doesn't have to be that way. It just doesn't. So it's really, really good news. The fallout, for my dad, not only did he, not only do you not lose the weight when you are diabetic, or it's harder to, I shouldn't say you don't, because I have a lot of diabetics that do. And I have somebody who just had not diabetic put into her chart. And she started this just like last July. She just started this last July. So that's really good news. Because I don't make claims, but I do tell stories and I have a lot of stories. OMG, I have so many stories. It's harder to lose weight, but the fallout is actually the hardest part. And that is, oh, Sharon, I will, you know what? I have to write you down and then try to find your name. Okay. Either that or go into my inbox, but I'm going to write you down. It's Ian. No, it's Owen. See, this is how this happens. I will write you down though. and then send you that video because it will go away when the live video is done. But you know what? My dad's function went like this. He took the path of medication. I took the path of supplementation. My function has gone like this in my 50s. I lost 3 sizes. I'm not on any meds. I'm the only one to have avoided type 2 diabetes. My dad, his life was Susan. Oh, I will send you one, Susan. That sounds great. Jody, yes. Jody, does that mean you want the trio video? Let me know. It's really interesting to me because now that I mimic the age, I think about my dad all the time. Here I am 60. And if I thought that in 3 years, God forbid, and it's not going to happen, that I were to die, I would not want that to be true with a low functioning life. Like, I understand anybody could get hit by a bus tomorrow. I get that, right? Okay. We all live with the, hopefully we work. I work hard to be grateful and mindful for today, because I do know that, especially since 2020, people can be gone in just a minute, and lost a lot of people for a lot of different reasons in the last 5 years. So I do live mindfully. However, having the function that I so desperately was seeking, not being exhausted all the time, not having my sleep messed up, my energy just totally tanking all the time, and really just wanting to nap my life away, that is actually what I appreciate the most. My dad's life became filled with doctor appointments on his calendar, became filled with medicines on a lazy Susan, became filled with medical procedures and recovery, medical procedure and recovery, until finally it ended up where he was doing dialysis for 2 years, and he would do dialysis, and then on that same day he'd puke. And then the next day he would feel better. And then the next day he'd go back and he'd do dialysis, and then that day he'd puke. And then the next day he'd feel better. Do you understand? That's what he was doing. Does that make sense? And so it literally was 36 hours before he died. He was at home and he was throwing up in the toilet because he had had dialysis that day, and it was Wednesday. And my sister was there. I was there with my husband and my 3 kids. We were actually visiting from South Dakota. I'm from Minnesota, and just for like 8 short years, we lived in South Dakota in the Black Hills. My husband's job took us out there. And so we were visiting with the kids, and the kids at the time, my kids were 6, 3, and 6 months old. And we are rather convinced that my dad waited until we got there. Now, he wasn't in the hospital. He wasn't in a nursing home. He was 63 years old, living his life. Okay. But his heart was not good anymore. Okay. And so my little boy, well, he's big now. He's 30. But his name is Brody John. And he was named after my dad, whose name was John. And I just really do believe that we all believe it, that he waited to see him because he was 6 months old. He hadn't seen him yet. So we're kind of gathered as a family, just in general, throughout the week at their house and, whatever, doing stuff. And my sister is in there, and she sees him throwing up, and he says to her, "This is no way to live." And 36 hours later, he was dead. He went to the hospital for his dialysis session. He got done with his session. He went to the cafeteria. He signed a blank check because he was going to fill it out for his food. And right there, he died, sitting in his chair, had a heart attack. Now, he had had heart attacks before. He had had quadruple bypass surgery. He had a pacemaker. He had kidney dialysis. He had emergency angiograms. He did it all. And all of this because of something that was not a terminal diagnosis. Are you freaking kidding me right now? That is stupid on steroids. That this is what we accept in our country. So instead of getting answers as to how to actually fill in, like seriously, give your body, oh man, I just dropped one. Is this one open? It's okay. It's on the floor. I swear every day I drop at least one. My husband's like, oh, honey, talking about supplements again. I do pick them up though before I put my iRobot on because I'm certainly not going to let them go. I'm like, oh, yeah, no, I'm going to be taking those. But taking these 3 supplements, like you're filling in nutritional deficiencies, like this is from a cellular perspective. This isn't from a cutting a corner perspective. And so you can actually get your body functioning again. Hey, Carol, late to the game today. You're good, Carol. You're good. Okay, Jody, very good. Susan, yep. You're welcome. I will get you those videos, Sharon. I will get you that. Do you have to take it forever? That is such a really good question. Let me explain what I do, okay? And then you can decide for yourself. So because these are like, again, this is not like some magic injection. I shouldn't say magic. That's not even fair because there's so many of you that hate the side effects. This is not an injection that when you stop it, then your body's not functioning anymore. We're actually getting your body to get up and running. Like, come on, let's go. So in teaching like the targeted supplementation and then teaching the food ingredient trade outs, I really, really, really want you to learn how to fish. So now, like with the, here, I'll just open this one. With the trio, you actually, I'll tell you exactly how you're going to take it. And then again, if anybody wants, I'm right now editing a little 3-minute video to really explain a little bit of details as to why this is working. Because I'm fully convinced that if you know why it's working, then you'll stick with it because it'll make sense to you. Okay. And I feel like because this is not a prepackaged jazz hands weight loss system, which it's not, I just cherry picked supplementation that I started using a little over 10 years ago. And because it worked, I understand now after all of my study, I understand why everything happened and it helps with insulin resistance. That's how you get to lose fat. Okay. Anyway. So like this one, you take 3 times a day. These 2, you take twice a day. Okay. And if you want the video, just put trio video in the comments and then I'll get that to you. But anyway, get it into my message box if you're on Instagram or TikTok, because it'll go away when the live is done. But having said that, I have now lost 3 sizes. I have now traded out my food ingredients. I teach grain, sugar, and legume free to fix what got me into the pickle to begin with. I'm still a foodie, and it took me about 3 to 4 years to really trade out my foods well. I did it all by myself. I did not have Kirsten Liebelt helping me. I did not have, I mean, it was me, but you know what I'm saying? I didn't have anybody because this is not a advertised system. This is me. This is my system, right? So to speak. I leveraged what I had available to me, and then I created this path. And so my point is that I am now way more metabolically flexible. I talked about that the other day when I said when we went to Florida and et cetera. And I kind of laid that out for you guys, what I ate and everything. I'm so much more metabolically flexible. There are some of you where your sugars are high. And what happens is you're doing good. And then you have something super simple and it skyrockets your sugars because your body isn't there yet. It's not to the metabolically flexible stage yet. And you have to give it more time. So that's where, how long will you be taking the trio 3 times a day, twice a day? This is your journey, right? So how bad off is your liver? How bad off are your sugars? How high is your insulin? How in need of a reset is your metabolism? Like I can't answer that completely for you. But I can tell you that what I do now today is I do not take glucose health 3 times a day. I just don't. But when somebody is on the front end of something, I have a friend who I teach whole food keto. She is not whole food keto. She is more Mediterranean. But she really had some serious insulin resistance going on. So what she did was she used this to mitigate her Mediterranean diet. Because as you know, Mediterranean could be really high in legumes and it can still be really high in grains. And for me, it makes a million times more sense to teach for the insulin resistant person to be grain and legume free. It makes life so much easier, but she didn't want to do that. And that's okay. She's eating like organic, whole food, and her grains are probably from her homemade sourdough from her kitchen, if you understand that. So what she did was when she's taking supplementation like this, she was taking the glucose product and she was taking 2 of them every time she ate. Instead of 1, she was taking 2. So she was taking 6 to probably 9 a day. But she lost a lot of, she customized for herself and lost a ton of weight in a couple of months. Like she went down 40 pounds. Because again, when your insulin is high, you can't lose weight. You cannot burn fat. I need to stop the word weight, because weight could be your impacted waist. It could be your water. It could be your muscle. You don't want to lose those things. You don't want to lose muscle. You do not. So you want to burn fat. If your insulin is high, your fat burning mode is shut off. See you later. Bye-bye. Good luck to you. You can't. And if your liver is tired, your fat burning mode is turned off. And it's your fat burning organ. Like, you want it to do what it's meant to do. Okay. And so, Patty, I see that. I'll get that to you. I'll get off and I'll wrap up the edit on it and I'll get it sent out to you guys just so that you can see the explanation. Okay. And then there will be a button right there where you can see everything in one place. It'll be nice and easy for you. And then the last thing I'm going to say is, because now I'm going to actually cut a video to explain better than I can on here on a daily basis. I want you guys to understand why does it work then to support your liver in the way that, like when we talk about the gut primer and we talk about probiotic, why is that helping your liver to the degree that it is helping? That's where, because a gut primer is completely different than a greens product. Like this is 6 products in one tub. And so this is a layer that some people add. And when people add this, it's something you take every day. You put it in just like some cold water, take it like a shot. That's what I do. Or you can add it to, like a protein shake or something. But it has fermented greens in it and alkaline spices and digestive enzymes and a pre and a postbiotic and fiber. And I feel like I'm missing something. But the point being 6 products in one, that is now another layer and another level of helping your liver to do what it needs to do, and your metabolism and your leaky gut and your oral health, et cetera. And then there is the fat burning pixie stick that I talk about. And that as its whole system. And again, this is something I put together, cherry picking what is going to work for insulin sensitivity, what is going to help your body go from insulin resistant to insulin sensitive. I did everything with just the trio. Because that's all I had access to. But now I condense time. I can help you condense time. So Terry, 62, last year loses 40 pounds plus. Claudette, 74, using everything, loses 45 pounds since August 28th. Like what took me years, you guys can do in months. Okay. And there are those 2 pieces: targeted supplementation and ingredient trade-outs. So join me today in the group. If you want to be in the group, it's Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. I put that up there for you guys. This is our 22nd 5-day reset challenge. And you really can reset your body. I promise you can. But it's a different lens. And so sometimes it takes a minute for us to recalibrate our thinking, right? Like, why does this work? And then when you understand. So again, if you're on Facebook, you can, Instagram, if you're on the replay, because I've already posted this, you can also drop trio video and I will get you that explanation. If you're on Facebook, you can do that. But if you're live on Instagram or TikTok, it'll go away. So you have to get into my inbox if you need stuff from me, because that's just kind of the way that goes. And I can show you how to do that. But my point being that if you actually want some understanding, because you know that that's going to help you to separate out the noise of what's out there, there's a lot of noise, and I understand. And sometimes you have to get very narrow in your thinking, and you have to realign yourself with something that is actually working. A point system was not created for insulin resistance. I'm just going to tell you that. And so that can feel very frustrating because you're like, why did that work at one point and why does it not work now? Maybe that's a question that you have. Well, one of the answers to that might be that at the very beginning of your insulin resistance, you didn't need to be as strict in not spiking your sugars through starchy vegetables or high sugar fruits or grains, legumes, sugar in general. Like maybe you didn't have to be as strict because your body, your metabolic syndrome wasn't on a scale of being it hard to turn around. So it worked in a season and now it's not working. Whatever it is that you used to try and it doesn't work anymore, it's just because the level of metabolic syndrome in your body. I don't want to sneeze. I did that yesterday too. What's making me sneeze? Must be like March spring pollen or something in Minnesota. I don't know. Good morning, Claudette. Good to see you. And so that's why. So now you need to do something different. And maybe it's time that you actually, like I said, for anybody that pauses on my content and you're like in your early 40s, perimenopause is like staring you straight in the eyes. This is gold information for you because then you can avoid the insanity of the weight gain and the hormone upside downness that could potentially hit you now. So anyway, my point being that on TikTok, if you hit my face up here in the corner and then you hit my face again, it'll come to my profile. And do you see the arrows? There are 2 arrows right on there. And if you click on those arrows, you will see my site. And you guys, for all of you, my site is on everything. It's my name, my first and last name.com. And if you look on that, this is how you can get to the Facebook group. You have to open it. And then you're going to see like my face and blue buttons, and it's one page. It's super fast and easy. But right at the top there, you do see information on the trio and the trio. And then there is right underneath here, there's the Facebook community, a free protein guide, and testimonies coming out of your ears. That big button, this is a whole Google sheet of testimonies. That's just from last year. That's not even all of the testimonies. There's a lot. So if you need to get into the Facebook group, that's a really great way to get into the Facebook group. But as I jump off here, 3:00 Central Standard Time this afternoon in the group, I will go live again. We'll do ingredient trade outs. And if you want the trio video that I'm wrapping up editing, it's going to be, I think, probably right around 3 minutes. It might even be less than that. I'm just explaining why these work so that there's not confusion in your brain. I don't want my conversation around this that I've done now for 10 years to be noise to you when you already have so much noise out there. I don't want that. I want this to make sense in your mind so that you go, okay, now I understand. Working from a cellular level, from the inside out, this is why that's working. And then I will put together a video of all of it, the trio and the fat burner and the gut primer and the probiotic. I'll do all of it for you. I'll do another one because again, I want you to understand. So like I said, this isn't a prepackaged system. This is something I cherry picked very specifically for insulin resistance because that is my story. And when you can get your insulin to come down, you can finally start to burn fat. Praise God. Thank you, Lord. So anyway, there you go. Have such a terrific day. I'll see you back at 11 a.m. tomorrow, Central Standard Time. And if you're in the group, I can't wait to serve you today, this afternoon, ingredient trade outs, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. So have such a good day. And if I see your comment trio video, I will get that sent to you here in just a little while. I'm going to wrap it up first. Okay.